don't sit in judgment of us. I know it's hard to believe when we as humans, we have a hard time getting out of judgment. Well, those on the other side, those that are so evolved, they don't judge, they just love us. And they are there to help us. But we do need to engage. And how do we engage? We have to ask questions. You know, there's a lot of different things that we can do to get guidance, receive guidance. We can even get guidance from our own bodies. One of the things that I teach is using our body, this beautiful body that we have, as our pendulum. And you know, there's a way to do that. We stand with hips, our feet hip distance apart, our hands on our shoulders, and then we just ask, is my name Jennifer Elizabeth Masters? And you know, ask a couple of control questions first, questions that you know the answer to. When you start asking questions that you know the answer to, then you're going to see, you know, when there's a yes answer, your body will go forward. When it's a no, your body will go backward. And so practicing this with questions that you know the answer to. You can ask, am I 14 years old? And your body's going to go back if you're not 14 years old. So questions and asking for help. You know, we could be, you know, sitting in a mess, thinking that we're all alone, when all we need to do is ask for help and guidance. And I'm not talking about begging. I'm talking about, could you please guide me on this situation? What is the best thing for me? Is it best for me to move to Colorado? Is it best for me to stay in California? That type of thing. You don't want to ask a yes or no question because that's a little bit more challenging, but you can do that with the human pendulum. You know, asking yourself with your hands on your shoulders, your feet hip distance apart, and ask a yes or no. And that way you're going to get a yes forward and a no backward. Okay, so regarding questions, do you have any questions? Hi, John. Nice to see you. Have you been using questions? Do you ask your guides for questions? Do you ask for answers? So earlier in this video, I was talking about asking questions, getting help. You know, there's help around us, but if we don't avail ourselves of it, then we're going to feel alone. We have angels. Each of us has a guardian angel, sometimes two. We all have a team of supporters, guides that guide us. We also have access to the divine mind. You know, all we have to do is meditate, connect to our high self, and ask. You can sit with a journal when you're meditating and ask, is this Mercury retrograde going to affect me in my business this month? Not anymore. Okay, great. So what do I need to be aware of? And then listen for the response. We live in an interactive universe, but we spend most of our time totally oblivious to the invisible. Just because you can't see angels, guides, teachers all around us doesn't mean that they don't exist. It is interesting that I was calling forth my team. I was saying, okay, I need some help. And I started to call Saint Germain and a few others. And Henry Ford happens to be one of my guides. And Henry was saying, what about me? He has a very creative mind. And so that sounds a little strange that I have a car manufacturer as a guide. But when you think about it, he has a creative mind. And I've had more than a few Fords in my lifetime, not to mention my family members. All my boys own Fords, Ford pickup trucks. You know, so we kind of have an affinity, Henry and I. All right, so questions. Let's see. One of the things that I'm predicting is an early snow in Colorado, and it's really interesting. My son outdid me on this one. I said early October, and he said, "Oh no, I think we're going to have snow next week." And sure enough, next Tuesday we're going to have snow here. So tapping into all of the information out there, there's so much. We have to be present in the moment. We have to have a quiet mind. We need to be grounded in our body. So how can we do those things? Well, we can take a deep breath, and that does two things. It grounds us in our bodies. It brings us into the present moment. And in the present moment, that is where the magic happens, not when we're focused on the future. So what do I need to do right now? What do I need to focus on right now? Is there someone I need to reach out to? Is there something I need to do for someone? Is there some charity I need to donate to? Is there someone I need to be listening to? Is there someone that needs my help? Asking these questions, and we start to filter through. We have to ask a question one at a time and then sit and wait for the answer. When I meditate and I am channeling, if I don't write down what I get, it comes in and out just as quickly. And that's how you can tell that it's channeled information. I've had people ask me, well, how do I know where it's coming from? Well, you can tell it's not coming from you because you don't remember it. If you don't write it down, it's gone just as quickly as it came in. So I want to just add that I am about to start on a 9-day fast. And I have been working on this 9-day fast for about 2 months, thinking, oh, it must be time, it must be time. But I've been waiting for the guidance to tell me, when is it okay to start? And I had a lot of work this week. It wasn't the time. I had something set in mind. We need to be flexible. So what we think with our mind may not be accurate. It could be ego driven. We want to be aligned and in tune with our high self. We want to do what is best for us. And how do we do that? Well, we need to tap into our gut. We need to tap into this intuition that comes through. Sometimes intuition comes through first thing in the morning. As soon as the eyes are open, or even before, you may hear a word, you may hear a phrase, you may see someone's face. Write it down, because you will forget. You're being given information when you're in that in-between state. When the unconscious mind is active, that is when we're best able to receive information. And how do we get tapped into the unconscious mind? We have to get this part, the conscious mind, chilled and quieted. So how do we do that? Well, the way I do it is through mantras. Now, we started this whole thing with questions. You want information? Get it from within. Don't get a psychic reading. It's disempowering. I stopped doing psychic readings because I find that it disempowers people. I use my gifts for helping people evolve, for helping people wake up. You know, a long time ago, this is one of the questions I asked my guides. So, am I going to read a crystal ball? No. Am I going to read tarot cards? No. And I was like, well, no? Well, what divination tool do I need? Nothing. Nothing. What does that mean? Well, what I didn't realize was that I was going to be an open channel, that I was going to be so clear. I wasn't back then, but over time, quieting my mind, getting into my heart, staying grounded in my body and in the present, I'm getting guidance all the time. And so the less that we can be active here, and we train our brain to be quiet, but we also we need to stop multitasking. Multitasking isn't good for us. Okay, so what types of questions do I ask my guides? What kind of questions can I ask my team? Well, you know, when I'm in the grocery store, I could be walking through and I might think to myself, ooh, that looks good. But when I tap into my high self and I say, is this something beneficial for me? My guides will say something like, you must be kidding. No, this is not good for you. Pass up the ice cream, pass up the sweets. You know, I love sweets, I love pie, but mostly I dream about it. I don't eat it. When I used to, well, what I found was that I was very ungrounded. And the higher vibration that we are, the higher vibration foods we need to consume. And so I'm gonna ask a couple of questions here. So cucumbers, are cucumbers and I'm hearing at the same time, yes, you know they are. Cucumbers at this time of year when it's still hot out, are very beneficial if your body is hot. So you can ask foods, are you in the best interest for me? Should I be eating peaches? Well, I'm getting a no. Right now my body is kind of hot, so I need to cool it down. Peaches are, as my intuition is telling me, peaches are a hot food, believe it or not. They heat you up. Chicken, another food, heats you up. Red wine heats you up. So you want to eliminate the things that heat you up when it's hot outside. All right, so what else can you ask? You could ask, should I raise my rates? Is it time to raise my rates? What is the best price point for me to be working at? Is there a coach I need to hire for my business? Is there a book I need to buy? What do you mean, Erica? I don't understand. You love what? Oh, cucumbers. I'm sorry. I was on to something else. Cucumbers. Yeah, cucumbers are great for cooling the body. So are pears. And, you know, I follow a traditional Chinese medicine for a lot of things. I do a little bit of Ayurveda. I do a little TCM. So it depends on what I'm doing. You know, turmeric is fabulous for inflammation. Eliminating foods that cause inflammation. If you have health issues, you may want to tune in. What are the foods I need to eat? And I'm hearing right away, no wheat, no gluten. Now, if it depends on where you live, because I think in Europe, the Monsanto hasn't taken over the wheat farming like it has here in the United States. So wheat in Europe is good still. Unfortunately, it's been buggered up in this country. It's ruined. It has ruined people's stomachs. And you see walking around, especially in California, everybody's got a gut. And let me just say, I'm going to show you this. So I have stopped eating wheat. Can you see my stomach? No wheat, no gluten. And my son has been kind of helping me with that. He's Adam Gates, Naked Healthy. You can follow his blog. He is a former model turned landscaper, and he's extremely healthy and fit. And so you know, you can check out his Facebook page and Instagram page, Adam Gates, Naked Healthy. And what does that mean? It means that you feel good when you're naked. You know, nothing like being able to take your clothes off and stand in front of the mirror and go, wow, you look fantastic. It makes us feel good when we look good. So, yes, I love sweets, but I'm not consuming them. All right, so what other questions can we ask? Groups. You may get invited to 10 I got something in my eye, it's driving me crazy. 10 Facebook groups a day. And I check in and I ask, pardon me, but my eye is just really sensitive. You may think that you need to be in all these different groups, but some of them are going to be beneficial and others are not. They could be a time waster for you. So tap in, check in. You could do the human pendulum, standing there with, feet hip distance apart, and ask, is this Facebook group beneficial for me? And if your body sways forward, the answer is yes. If your body sways backward, the answer is no. Use your body to ask. You will find yourself getting to the point where all you do is tap into your gut, and you'll feel a rising energy or lifting energy is positive, and a sinking energy is negative. So everybody's going to have their own different gauge. But for me, like I see visions, but I also hear words. It depends on the energy comes in all different sorts of ways, always on my right side. And when I'm working with clients, I follow my intuition. I get guidance because my team works with me. We are not alone. We can be so much better coaches and healers if we listen to the guidance we receive. And so the best healers and coaches on this planet are going to be those that channel because it's truth, and they're really tapped into their inner divinity. All right, any other questions before we go? I urge you to use questions to, when you're getting to know somebody, when you add somebody as a Facebook friend. I don't just add anybody automatically. I tap into, and I play this little game with myself. Is this person beneficial for me in my business? And if I get a no, then I don't add them. So there's so many different ways that we can use questioning and our intuition to guide us on a regular basis so that life becomes easier. So that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, let me know if there's any way I can assist you, if there's any questions that you have. If you would like me to do a video on a particular subject, I would be glad to do so. So you could either put a comment down below or send me an email or DM me on Facebook. My email address is jenniferelizabethmasters@gmail.com. Sending you a big heartfelt hug today. Lots of love. Mwah! And have a beautiful rest of your day.